A little boy was killed on this road last summer, the latest in a long line of victims. The road is called the Highway, but people in Stepney have other names for it. It is the northern frontier of Whopping, cutting off our tiny riverside community from the rest of London. It was originally intended for heavy traffic from the docks, which closed down before it was completed. The GLC deny it, but the highway is now part of an urban motorway from Westminster to Poplar. Here, where it cuts through the only community on its route, there are no traffic lights. The isolation it has caused makes Whopping people feel vulnerable to the old principle of divide and rule more than ever before. They feel that the GLC and the developers are trying to soften them up for large-scale redevelopment, but Whopping has ideas of its own.
1, 2.
For some, Whopping is a joke, the place which gave its name to Alf Garnett. For the people living here, it is going to the dogs, because faceless men want to build new empires here.
When the docks were still alive, you know, we had about 5,000 or 6,000 dockers working there. And the place was very busy, you know, the shops was going well, the pubs was going well. Everybody was happy, let's be honest about it. I mean, it was a good community, it was a good area.
The Putney and the Chelsea of the future, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, we don't mind it being in place as long as we can get the facilities that we want down here.
The whole area has become run down. It's really deplorable. And I'm sure this is deliberately done. Perhaps they think they make us feel so uncomfortable that we move away.
Why should we move?
Why should we move?
Old Whoppingites and the relative newcomers who have only been here for one generation or less are organising against the new enemy in the Whopping Parents Action Group. Now, 18 months after we started up, our message is the same. We want improvements today, not promises later.
Welcome to Whopping. My name is Josie Harriott, chairwoman of the Whopping Parents Action Group. We have a lot of problems in Whopping, and one of our main problems is transport. The underground, they introduced the 1938 rolling stock on the tubes last year. Nobody was informed about it. Since then, old people have been unable to use the trains. There's a 14-inch drop into the train. There's a little paper on the top that says mind your head. There's mums with their babies who can't use the trains, and the horriblest thing about it, they've got nowhere to do their shopping. Okay, we've talked about the trains, now we're going to talk about the buses. Maureen, what do you think about the disgusting 67 bus?
Well, Josie, I think the 67 bus is disgusting.
Yeah.
Firstly, because we wait so long for it. Secondly, when it comes, it doesn't take us to the right places.
Yeah.
And the worst of the lot is that the children suffer because they have to walk to school because it doesn't come regular enough for the children to go to school.
Yeah.
So they bunk school.
Dol?
Well, I'm really interested in the 67 on a Sunday especially, and that day you have no service at all. There's no bus service on a Sunday. It's only a Monday to Saturday running, and Sundays, if you want to go out for any reason then, You'd have to walk all the way to the tube station, then you wait so long again, and it's practically no go, especially even for old people. There's no taxi service, and the bus route that runs in the area for us to go any place at all. It's a bit of a drag, you know, so you just relax, stay indoors and forget about it.
Yeah, well, what about the old dears? What annoys me, the Action Group has been campaigning for a decent bus service. I mean, the old dears, all right, they've got tickets to use on a Sunday. They can't use them. As you said, the kids. I mean, what? Hour is it? An hour and a quarter?
Hour and a quarter sometimes. A mile and a half to walk to school.
Yeah, I mean, there's a high rate of truancy in Tower Hamlets. We've been trying, and yeah, we finally got a delegation together to go up and see Evan in Dennington after 3 years. So let's hope we get somewhere. We can only keep trying, right? We may not have many buses, but we've certainly got more than our fair share of heavy traffic.
My little daughter was run down on this stretch of road by a police car coming around the blind corner because there's a derelict building on that stretch of road that needs to be knocked down. So actually standing by, you cannot see what's coming around the corner. And there were parked vehicles on both sides of the road.
Well, we've had the railings put up, but they've left a space, which was supposed to be for zebra crossing. Now they tell us we can't have a zebra crossing because there isn't enough people crossing the road in the course of a day. The railings are of no use at all now because they're in such an appalling state. They're being misused and they are still parking on both sides of the road. We haven't got a double yellow line, but they promised us a double yellow line. They come down and they painted over the one that was there. So we're still left with the same problem again.
When we did want the bus stop to remove, actually, to put somewhere farther along this stretch of road, but they said that they're unable to remove it. So we don't really think they would. We wanted a pedestrian crossing, which over 18 months now we haven't get one.
The roads are bad enough, but the play parks are worse. We might need a zebra in the road, but we can do without that horse in the park.
We had hoped to film this in the park today, but unfortunately, Tower Hamlets Council have closed the park for the first time in 75 years. How many parents realise that the equipment in council parks have been there through 2 world wars? The equipment is extremely dangerous, and thousands of children in the past have been seriously injured and killed because of the dangerous design of equipment. Most of these ladies here today have had their children injured.
Well, my son Stephen was injured. The bars at the side of the rocking horse were repaired and so narrow that the children at that age, their feet just slide off the side, they go forward and they're injured. They just don't seem to put anything new in. If anything collapses or breaks down, they just bodge it up and repair it and just leave it for someone else. It's going to go on and on. What does it take to sort of get the council or anyone to repair anything? Or not repair it, to renew it with some safer and bigger equipment?
True, yeah. I mean, I've got 3 children, but I don't want them to be crippled or anything like that. I think it should be on a grass verge or something like that. Shouldn't they? Proper safety equipment. That's what we need.
We want to put a stop to it now before our children do get, you know, our children, no more children get damaged.
And I've got a boy who was 16 years, and when he was 8 years old, he got trapped under on such a state that his legs still can't even play a game of football. He gets an awful pain even at night when he's lying in bed. And his legs are really disfigured from this horse, you know.
My daughter's leg was deformed by the iron rocking horse. For 3 years, I tried to speak to Tower Hamlets Council about this accident, and they refused to speak to me.
It seems a bit ridiculous, really, that equipment this age, you know, should still be used. I mean, I drive for a living, and if I was to take a vehicle 50 years old out on the road, I wouldn't get 50 yards. The police would hold me off the road. But the thing is, as well as the equipment in the park is too small. The area of play is too small. The equipment is too old. And it's time the council done something about it. There's new equipment coming on, safe equipment. So why not let's have it?
But I mean, let's face it, we're We're one of the highest rateable boroughs in London. Why can't we have this equipment that we need for safety for our children?
I was a parking attendant, and I've worked with this equipment. And the children either break their legs getting off or getting on, and the end of the equipment, it comes down if they're just standing there and they're not right all that near, and it just comes down when the children's working it and breaks their toes. I've had it. I said I've worked with them, and they're proper death traps.
The one thing the children are safe from is the Thames. A community whose heart was the river is now denied access to it. The Port of London Authority, a so-called public body, lets houses rot, sells to the highest bidder, and does deals with developers to finance its already obsolete deep-sea port at Maplin. All the riverside sites are gobbled up by the private sector, and the resultant influx of wealthy outsiders coincides with a deliberate rundown of basic amenities, essential services.
Maureen, I've been in Whoppin 10 years now, and, you know, I wanted to know what this was like before I came to Whoppin. What was this place, you know, around
here? Before this showpiece was put on, it was the River Thames. It went right the way through to the docks with shipping.
Yeah. And number 5, now that was our health centre when I come to Whoppin. Now, what was that before?
It's always been a health centre. It's also been a family planning, nursery, children's club.
That was before I came, was it? Yeah. And then we had, I understood when I come to Whoppin, I heard there was a hospital here at one time.
Oh, that was St George's in the East. That was pulled down, and they built flats on it now. That was about 9 years ago.
9 years ago. Oh, I see. There's another health centre down at Riverside. Yeah. What, you know, is that still working, is it now?
Yeah, the only time they come is Wednesdays. Yeah. When the children get babies to be weighed. Right, apart from that, nobody else is there.
So, come to think of, we've got nothing like that in Whoppin. We haven't even got a dispenser, have we, in Whoppin?
No, or a doctor's surgery. We've got nothing.
Nothing at all.
Here you're all on top of one another, and it's inclined to be rather small compared to the other one, up and downstairs, which is awkward for the mums with babies, isn't it?
I think it's much too small myself. You've got to go one place for the feet, one place for the teeth. You've got to go one place for the family planning. So what you got in there, you've got nothing in there.
Well, I don't think it should be there. I think that's a flat for a person that is in need of a flat. And I am one of them people that is in need of a flat.
This empty surgery and our Toy Town Clinic are in Riverside Mansions, the only Tower Hamlets estate in Whoppin. The rest of it is GLC, and they've really let it run down something rotten.
Well, lack of control and proper supervision in the flats is making life unbearable. At one time, people abided by the rules and regulations. Life then was much more pleasant. Today, everybody's allowed to do just what they like. Nobody seems to take an interest anymore, especially the council. They don't care a damn what goes on.
The decline started, I think, about 6 to 8 years ago. And lately, if you go to empty your rubbish, well, 9 times out of 10, all the chutes are blocked up. You just can't get there. And then you have all the filth on the stairs. The lifts are always out of order. You can never get the lift to the first floor, it's jammed. And you've got these dogs around in the small street underneath, you know. There's the guard dogs, which come out during the night and stand on the bridge, so the office cleaners that go out early in the morning are frightened because of the dog.
We've got tanks on the roof that supply the cold water to our baths, which is running alive with beetles, bugs and worms. I've been on to the borough's health division, and they've been down and told me that the water is polluted because it hasn't got any covering on the top. But because it's going to cost £600 to put the cover on each top of the tanks, they just do not want to know, because we're either going to be renovated or demolished. Well, for £600, people's health's got to suffer. In Riverside Mansions, you had a beautiful view of the Shadwell Basin. The men themselves wanted it as an angling club for theirself, and the boys, and the PLA and such like turned them down.
It's rumoured that Shadwell Basin will be like that for the next 12 years. At one time, the Queen Mother came to Riverside Mansions and gave Mrs. Andrews an award for the best garden. I'd like the Queen Mother to come back now. She'd have a fit.
She'd have a shot.
Wouldn't she?
How long have you been living? What's your name, by the way? Mrs. Hooper. Mrs. Hooper. How long have you been living in Whoppin?
From when I was born.
That's quite some time.
Yeah, I was born in St George's Hospital.
Have you been living in this building very long?
Yes, when it first opened, over 30 odd years.
And the condition of the building, what do you think about it now?
Well, it's deteriorated. Yes, it is definitely. You could eat on these stairs.
Yeah.
They were white.
Yeah.
They were white.
Well,
But not today.
Sorry. Can I bring in Jess? How long have you been here?
I've been here 2 years.
And for the 2 years, what do you think?
It's gone wrecking ruins. I mean, you find glass, they come round with a sweep, they don't even pick the dirt up, they get a dirty bucket of water, one block to another block, not even a bit of Dettol in the water sometimes. You get this dirty mop, it's just slung on the stairs and that's it.
Yeah,
and our children have got to go up and down the stairs in it.
Yeah, right. Well, I agree with you, but I must say, in our building, it's not so bad, you know. I've noticed over there in Andrew's house, you know, they've been digging up for a gas leak, you know, and, well, they've left a, you know, they've left a big hole there. They've dug through the sewage. There's rats running all over the place. You know, it's terrible.
I've been on to the council. I go out, I'm up at 6. I go out 6:30 in the morning to work. These lights are out. I've been down to the wall every morning to ask them to put the lights on. I've got a match in my hand coming down these stairs. I can't see at all. What is going to be done for us?
That's something like Whitethorn buildings, isn't it? I mean, I've got a friend living on the second balcony, and you've got to go up to her place, and there's no lights there at all. And she has been on to them about it, and they come in and put one light, and the next day, you know, it's gone. You know, I don't know whether it's the kids that take it out or what.
No, the kids can't get taken out because it's all screwed in.
No, the thing is, for me, as I
Well,
said...
what I'd like to say is that they give you a form to fill in, and you fill in if any of complaints you got to make, and it takes about 2 months to nearly a year before they come and fix it. I had a toilet which was broken. They took a whole year, and when they come, they said they can't do nothing, but they just took the lid off and walked away and said, that's it.
As you talk about that, my drains in my bathroom, the sink empties out into the bath, and when the water comes out the drain, it's flooding all over the place. You know, you call the council, they come and see it, fair enough. But there's something more to be done rather than just lift up the drain and make it go down a bit more. Otherwise, you know, you can't get the thing going properly at all.
Well, since I've been here, now, I asked them to put a sink in for me. I had a terrible life to get a sink, and I've been living here all my life. I've still got the same bath when these flats were first opened. Yeah, and everybody, majority of these people in these buildings have got a new bath, barring me. I went on for them about this sink. Oh, no, can't do nothing, can't do nothing.
We haven't got an estates office down here, so the action group members go out and about finding out what's really wrong. We like to know what we're talking about.
Phyllis, now what do you think of the grounds that we're living in Jackman?
Well, there's a lot got to be done for the children, like, you know. My daughter broke her arm on the grass, played on the grass, the holes in the grass. So I'd like something done there.
Nancy, what would you like?
I'd like to see all these motors kept out, because my baby's been nearly knocked down twice with all the way they keep speeding in and out.
And
well, I would like my central heating done, because I've not had it on for a year. I wrote it up to the council, they sent 2 men down. They done it, but it was worse after they done it. And when we put it on there, it makes a terrible noise.
Jean, you've had a bit of trouble of where you are now. They're asking the council for a bedroom where they've got a drying room.
Yeah, well, I've been in there 6 years. And if that drying room's been open 6 months, it's a lot. So 2 years ago, I wrote and asked them if they'd make the drying room into a bedroom because I need extra space. And they said they was reviewing all the drying rooms. That was 2 years ago, and they're still closed.
And they're still closed. And not only that, I would like all the piping and everything that is done. We've got gaping holes. and also in the grounds where we all get flooded when it floods out.
We don't just shout our mouths off. We meet every Monday at 8 o'clock to discuss what to do about the state of the place. We've had the local councillors down to all our meetings. They've promised us everything. All we've got is promises, promises, promises. We haven't had nothing. Yeah. So let's go on to you now, Bet, and talk about health.
Well, at one time we had a doctor's, we had a pharmacist, and we had a clinic. We had none of those things now. We had the old people have to walk all the way up to Cable Street, crossing 2 main roads to get to a pharmacist. We've got no doctors, they have to go to the same place for a doctor, and we have no health clinic for the young children. What we need is, there's plenty of open spaces in Whopping. Why can't they build us a clinic and put all these things in the one place, and nobody's got to rush here, there and everywhere to get to the places? With all these open spaces, then they're just not using them. It's a waste of property.
Particularly bad for the old people, isn't it, that perhaps have got to travel quite a long way to be able to either see a doctor or to have any kind of treatment.
At one time in Whopping they had a hospital. They pulled that down. Now anyone that wants to go to hospital, they have to go to Whitechapel or St Bartholomew's Hospital.
Poplar Hospital.
Poplar. All over the place. There's absolutely nothing at all in this area. Not for health. You see, the old girls plodding, as Betty said, up the road to get their prescription filled. It's all wrong, really, isn't it? That they have to do this.
We've also got to have doctors who are going to be willing to come down to Whopping.
That's right, yeah.
And to practice down here. They've got to be facilities for them to do that.
They've
got to be encouraged to come down.
We've got facilities. In Riverside Mansions, there's always been facilities there for the doctors. But nobody's using them, so these places are just going to wreck and ruin. Nobody wants to know.
So what we really want now is a health centre. Right? Let's go on to you, Maureen, to play parks.
Well, no government or party have ever given the East End children fair play. They're still using equipment that was provided for their great-grandmothers. There's plenty of empty docks that have been filled in, we have heard, illegally. This would make a fine sports centre for the children. It's time they had fair play. Safe equipment is on the market. It can be seen in the West End, Regent's Park. I'm afraid our children will never be safe until there's a strict safety law to protect the child in the playground.
We were promised Riverside walks and parkland. We never got them. Instead, Whopping at one time was surrounded by water, which was all very nice. Now we're surrounded by corrugated iron and juggernaut lorries. The people that rent the land go home at night to their nice homes. They can sleep. We can't. We listen to their dogs barking half the night. But we complain. Nothing's done.
So what do we want? The only people really who get any decent view of what the riverside is like are those people who can afford to pay £20,000 for a brand new house down there.
Yeah, that's true.
The actual local people of Whopping don't get a look in.
They don't. Not
It's
at all.
only just recently that people want to know about Whopping, isn't it? I mean, when we had the docks and things here, nobody wanted to know.
It's one of the in-places now, isn't it?
Yeah, of course, yeah. It's the pattern in the Chelsea of the future, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, we don't mind it being in place as long as we can get the facilities that we want down here. There are no shops. There's a market, but we have to walk for that. Well, I'm saying there are no shops. There are a few shops, I admit.
Sticking with parks, didn't they say at the heliport inquiry that Shadwell Park, for instance, was going to be made bigger, was going to be enlarged?
Yes.
I mean, that has never happened, has it?
No, nothing's happened. They've done nothing. They've just filled in the basin, haven't they?
Yeah.
Filled in, and even that is a health hazard, isn't it? I mean, you get stagnant water, which breed rats and flies and goodness knows what.
All right, so shall we go on to road safety with Mary and Monica?
Well, the main thing is that in Whopping alone there are 4 schools. Neither of them have got a zebra crossing, and the council, in my view, is totally disregarded the pleas for zebra crossings, as last year they were approached and promised that there would be zebra crossings at the school, which hasn't up till now materialised. So the safety of the Whopping children are absolutely disregarded.
For 2 days they sent traffic wardens down to try and see if we needed these zebra crossings, but apparently to their police and the GLC, there was no need for these crossings. So what are we to do? Have children killed in the road?
Well,
Which so many
Yes,
have happened.
It's done recently.
Through parked cars where the shops are in Whopping Lane. Now this, to me, is it's a terrible, dangerous route. Coming down from St. Peter's Church, they do not give these traffic cars, they don't give for one another. They see a child standing at the pavement, to them they're rushing back to get home. Now to me it's ridiculous, and I think both the police and the GLC want to get their heads together and think again and look down at Whopping and let's have something done.
Just can I come in on there? We've been negotiating with the GLC for something like 3 years for a crossing. We still haven't got one, but we want one now.
There was a demonstration 2 years ago. There was a demonstration.
Which we stopped the traffic at Whopping Lane, both at Garnet Street, and to me, we never got nowhere. It was wrote in the newspapers, and I think that now we're still standing and waiting, seeing what's going to happen for our children.
Well, since the action group took it up, we took it up after that, and we really was writing letters all over the place. We wrote to Evelyn Devonty, we wrote 5 letters, we got 1 reply. And guess what, a few months ago, all of a sudden, just out of the blue, she said, yes, she'll meet us. All right.
Their argument all the time is an economic one, isn't it? For nearly all the problems that there are in Whopping, their answer is that they just have not got the money or the finances to be able to spend on them. What is the cost of a zebra crossing, measured in terms of the cost of the life of one child? But even if they won't provide a zebra crossing, the other thing that they could do would be to provide either somebody that would help the children across the road, a lollipop person.
We have one in Garnet.
There's one in Garnet Street, but there is not one in Whopping Lane. There is not one in Whopping Lane. And the problem with Whopping Lane, surely, is that the children have got to peer from behind the parked lorries, particularly the juggernauts. And of course, they're halfway across the road and the other traffic is coming around the corner. And this is where the danger lies.
It is, that's right.
Maureen, so we want some improvement in the trains. OK, what do we want?
Well, first of all, we want to have that 1938 rolling stock took off of the lines because it's dangerous for the old age pensioners and the parents of the children. Why don't they fetch our own trains back and give us better service?
We were told about the trains as we had the transport up at one of our meetings. They told us that that rolling stock they gave us was only for a temporary time.
Came off the Northern Line, didn't it?
It came off the Northern Line, so they said we have to put up with the inconvenience at the moment that as they wanted to build it lower, but it'll cost them too much money to do this. So we're left with this old rolling stock. Either get on with it or do what you like. They've left the East End derelict, the trains and everything. What can you do?
What we want is the minibus.
Yes.
On that, go from Whopping to Aldgate so people can pick up connections up there. We also want a bus that goes on a circular route from Whopping as far up as Poplar, Stepney Green, where the main of the children in Whopping have to go to school. They have to walk 1.5 miles to school in the morning because there are no facilities for them to get there otherwise. So this is what we want, this circular route to take our school children backwards and forwards to school, and also the old people to go out visiting the marketplaces which they haven't got in the immediate area.
I mean, look how ridiculous the 67 bus route is. I mean, it doesn't even cover Tower Hamlets, does it? And they turn back at Leman Street when they're running overtime on Stoke Newington High Street. So that Whopping doesn't even get the buses. Who was it that waited 1.5 hours for a bus the other night?
I did Wednesday evening.
Yes, 1.5 hours in the rain. I don't even take it anymore. I'd rather walk. I've waited so long.
Transport people down,
Ridiculous.
haven't we? They were down here for a meeting, do you remember? Do you remember what they said? Do you remember what they said? That the reason that people from Whopping do their shopping in Dalston, and the reason that the 67 bus goes to Dalston is because people in Wapping want to do their shopping in
Wapping's got
Dalston.
no alternative.
Exactly.
They're shopping in.
People in Wapping do their shopping in Dalston because that's where the 67 bus goes.
Yeah.
Surely it would be better for the bus to go to
There is also a good
other
market.
markets as well.
There's a good market.
Well, we haven't got a good market.
All right.
Millie, can we come over to maintenance, you know, the
Well,
building,
regards
GLC?
to maintenance and the GLC and the cleaning up of the estates, which is disgusting to me because it's a thorn in my back. I've been several times to County Hall. Oh yes, we look into it. They haven't done nothing. Their porters are sent down to clean the stairs, which they don't clean one bucket of water, and I think it's up to the tenants now to take action themselves. If they want to see their estates clean, which the GLC have already said, that we must all get together and clean our own estates.
Why should we, when the borough are getting £40 a week
Yeah, but
to
this
do
is-
their job? Why should we do their job
This
for
is
them?
what the GLC have told us, that the tenants that are living in make the dirt and filth. Now, to me, it's all wrong. We pay enough rates and we pay enough rent. And as the parklands we've got around here, there's nothing here. There's docks going to waste here.